My friend, draw close. Settle your mind and still your heart, for I wish to speak with you today, not as a writer of books, but as a fellow traveler on this winding road of life. So many of you have come to me, your eyes filled with a burning question, a question that has echoed through the ages in marketplaces and palaces, in lonely hovels and bustling cities. You have read the tale of Hafid, the camel boy who rose to become the greatest salesman in the world, and you have marveled at his success. But the question that lingers on your lips, whispered in the quiet moments of your own striving, is this: Og, what was the true secret? The scrolls were the method, the principles were the guide, but what was that final, ultimate secret Hafid kept that made him not merely successful, but the wealthiest man alive? It is a question worthy of a king, yet it is a question that every soul, rich or poor, must eventually ask itself. For we speak not merely of gold and silver, of overflowing coffers and vast estates. Such things are but the shadows of true wealth. Hafid possessed these, yes, in measures that would stagger the imagination. His caravans stretched from Damascus to Rome. His ships plied every known sea, and his name was a synonym for quality and integrity. But the wealth I speak of, the wealth that made him a legend, was a treasure of the spirit, a richness of being from which all material abundance flowed as naturally as a river flows to the sea. Many have speculated on this secret. They imagine it was a clever trick of trade, a hidden formula for predicting markets, or perhaps a map to a lost mine of diamonds. They are mistaken. They look for the secret in the world of effects, when the secret itself resides in the world of cause. They search the branches for the fruit's magic, when the magic lies deep within the seed and the soil. The secret Hafid kept, the one he guarded not with locks and chains, but with the very fabric of his daily life, was not a single, simple statement. It was a profound and living truth, an understanding so deep that it became the very air he breathed. If I were to distill this secret into a phrase for your mind to hold, it would be: this true wealth is not acquired, it is circulated. The hand that wishes to receive must first be an open hand ready to give. Now, do not turn away in disappointment, thinking this is some simple platitude you have heard before. Verily, you have heard the words, but have you understood the music? Have you lived the symphony? Hafid did not merely know this truth, he became this truth. Let me unravel this for you, as he once unraveled it for me in the twilight of his years, his eyes twinkling like ancient stars in the desert sky. Og, he told me one evening, as we sat overlooking the vast expanse of his estate, a testament to a life well lived. Look at the world. What do you see? You see men striving, clawing, fighting for their share. They believe the world is a pie of a fixed size, and to get a larger slice, they must take it from another. Their hands are clenched fists, grabbing what they can, holding it tight, fearing its loss. This is the path of poverty, my boy, no matter how much gold one's fist may hold. He held up his own hand, weathered and wrinkled, yet strong. He clenched it into a fist. See this? A fist can strike, it can grasp, but it cannot receive. It cannot feel the warmth of another's hand. It cannot accept a gift. It cannot sow a seed. The man who lives with a clenched fist, hoarding his time, his knowledge, his affection, and his gold, lives in a self-made prison of scarcity. He may sit atop a pile of treasure, but he is the poorest of all men, for his soul is starving. Then he slowly opened his hand, palm up, revealing the lines of a long and purposeful life. But an open hand, an open hand can do all things. It can offer comfort, it can sow seeds in the earth. It can receive the bounty of the heavens and the generosity of men. It is a conduit, not a container. This was the first lesson I had to unlearn from the world and relearn from the scrolls. The world teaches you to be a container to accumulate. The scrolls teach you to be a conduit to circulate. This was the foundation of Hafid's great secret. He did not view wealth as a destination to be reached, but as a current to be joined. He understood a universal law that so many miss life is energy, and energy must flow. When it is hoarded, it stagnates and dies. When it flows, it expands and creates more of itself. This applied to everything in his life. You have read the scroll that commands, "I will greet this day with love in my heart." Most read this and think of it as a tool to make others like them, a method to win sales, and it is that, to be sure. But Hafid understood it on a cosmic level. For him, greeting the day with love was not a sales tactic, it was the act of opening the primary valve of circulation. He knew that the most valuable currency in the universe is not gold, but love. Love, in this context, is not mere sentiment, it is the unconditional positive regard for all life. It is the genuine desire to add value to the existence of another. When a customer came to him with a complaint, his first impulse was not defense, but an outpouring of understanding. He sought to give the customer the gift of being heard, the gift of respect. In doing so, he transformed a potential adversary into a lifelong advocate. He was circulating love, and it returned to him as loyalty, a form of wealth far more stable than any coin. When an employee made a mistake, his first reaction was not anger, but a desire to teach. He gave the gift of his wisdom and his patience, investing in that person's growth. He was circulating knowledge, and it returned to him as a more capable, more devoted workforce. Another immense form of wealth. He applied this to his products. He was not merely selling robes or carpets. He was, in his mind, giving the gift of comfort, of beauty, of quality that would last. He poured his commitment to excellence, a form of love for his craft and his customer, into every thread. He knew that if he gave immense value, far beyond the price he asked, the universe had no choice but to return immense payment. This is a critical point, my friend. So many ask, how can I get more? Hafid asked, how can I give more? He knew the getting was a natural consequence of the giving. He focused with all his being on the cause, giving value, and was unconcerned with the effect, receiving payment, for he knew it was an immutable law. He sowed his fields with the finest seeds of value and service, and he did so with a joyful heart, knowing that the harvest was guaranteed by the very laws of nature. Consider the scroll that proclaims, "I will persist until I succeed." Again, the novice sees this as a simple exhortation to work hard, but Hafid saw it as another form of circulation. What is persistence if not the continuous giving of one's effort, one's energy, one's faith into a task? The world is full of people who make a single, half-hearted attempt and then retreat, their fist clenched around their wounded pride. They gave a little, and when the world did not immediately give back in equal measure, they shut off the flow. They are like a farmer who plants a single seed, and when a sprout does not appear the next morning, he abandons the field in disgust. Hafid understood that persistence was the act of priming the pump of the universe. He would pour his effort into a venture, day after day, undeterred by the silence of the world. He was giving his energy freely, without demanding an immediate return. He knew that he was not failing, he was investing. Every no he heard, every door that closed, was simply another measure of effort he was pouring into the great reservoir of cause. He told me of a time he sought to open a new trade route through a treacherous mountain pass, opposed by local chieftains and plagued by storms. His caravans were turned back 3 times. His advisors told him to abandon the project to cut his losses. They were thinking with clenched fists, trying to hoard the resources they had already spent. Hafid, however, saw it differently. He smiled and said, "We have not lost anything. We have simply made a significant down payment on our success. We have given the mountain our effort, our gold, and our resolve. The mountain now owes us a great debt. We will go one more time, and this time we will collect." He was circulating his will, his determination. He was giving it to the challenge. And on the 4th attempt, he succeeded. The new route brought him wealth that dwarfed his initial investment 100 times over. He did not conquer the mountain. He had made it a partner by the sheer volume of the energy he had given to it. His persistence was an act of supreme generosity to his own goal. I am nature's greatest miracle. This scroll is the cornerstone of self-worth. But how does it relate to the secret of giving? Hafid understood that to truly give, you must first have something to give. And to have something to give, you must first recognize the infinite treasure that you already are. The declaration, "I am nature's greatest miracle," was not an act of ego for him. It was an act of profound accounting. It was the daily recognition of the unique, unrepeatable, priceless assets he possessed within his own being. He knew he had a unique perspective, a unique voice, a unique combination of talents and experiences that no other person in history possessed. This was his true treasure chest. His secret was not to hoard this uniqueness, but to spend it lavishly. Every day, he asked himself, "How can I give the gift of my uniqueness to the world today?" Perhaps it was in the way he spoke to a child in the marketplace, giving the gift of his full, undivided attention. Perhaps it was in the unique solution he devised for a complex shipping problem, giving the gift of his singular intellect. Perhaps it was in the way he combined colors for a new tapestry, giving the gift of his specific aesthetic sense. He did not try to be like other merchants. He did not copy their methods or their manners. To do so would be to offer the world a counterfeit coin. Instead, he strived every day to be more purely and unapologetically Hafid. He circulated his authentic self into the world, and the world, starved for authenticity, rewarded him beyond measure. People did not just buy his goods. They bought a piece of his integrity, his vision, his uniqueness. This is a brand, my friend, that cannot be forged. It is the wealth that comes from generously spending the one thing you have that no one else does yourself. And so we come to the part that most people think of when they hear the word wealth. The gold, the dinars, the property. It was here that Hafid's secret shone brightest. And it is here that most of the world fails the test. Most who acquire riches do so with the mindset of the clenched fist. They build walls around their wealth. They count it, hide it, and live in constant fear of its loss. Their wealth becomes a burden, a gilded cage. Hafid treated his material wealth the same way he treated his love, his effort, and his uniqueness. as a current to be circulated, he became the wealthiest man alive because he was the greatest conduit of wealth the world had ever known. He established a principle for his life, which he called the law of the flowing river. He explained it to me this way: a river is powerful alive and brings life to all it touches because it is constantly flowing. It receives from the mountains and gives to the sea. If you were to dam the river at both ends, what would happen? It would become a stagnant, dead pond. So it is with gold. Og, my coffers are not a pond, they are a wide point in a mighty river. What did this mean in practice? It meant that as wealth flowed into him, he made sure a significant portion of it immediately flowed back out. He was a spectacular and intelligent giver. He did not simply throw coins to beggars, though he was never unkind to the poor. His giving was as strategic and value-oriented as his business. He invested in people. He funded promising young artisans so they could start their own workshops. He built libraries and filled them with scrolls of wisdom for all to read. He financed the digging of new wells in arid lands, bringing life and prosperity to entire communities. He sponsored explorers to chart new territories, opening up opportunities for thousands. His contemporaries thought him mad. "Hafid, you give away a fortune every month!" they would exclaim. Hafid would smile. "You see me giving away a fortune. I see myself sowing a field the size of a kingdom. Every dinar I invest in another person's success, in the betterment of a community, is a seed. And those seeds do not merely return a harvest to me. They create new forests of opportunity for everyone. They create a more prosperous world, and a more prosperous world is a better market for my goods. A more educated world has more people who can work in my enterprises. A healthier world has more people with the energy to create and to buy. My giving is the most selfish thing I do, for it enriches the very soil in which I live and work." This is the secret in its most potent form. He understood that money is like manure. Piled up in one place, it stinks and serves no purpose. Spread around, it fertilizes the ground and makes everything grow. By constantly circulating his wealth, he achieved several things. He banished fear. He was not afraid of losing his money because he was never truly attached to it. It was a tool, a form of energy to be used, not a part of his identity to be hoarded. He created immense goodwill. His name was synonymous not with greed, but with opportunity and progress. People wanted to do business with him. They wanted him to succeed because his success was their success. This goodwill was an asset more valuable than all the gold in his vaults. He multiplied his wealth. The law of the universe is that what you send out returns to you, multiplied. By sending out streams of wealth, he created countless new tributaries that flowed back into his river, making it ever wider and more powerful. The young artisan he funded created a new dye that Hafid could use in his robes. The new trade route he sponsored brought back exotic goods he could sell. His generosity was the ultimate investment in his own future. Living the secret, so, my friend, the secret is not a trick. It is a transformation. It is the journey from the clenched fist to the open hand. It is the conscious decision to become a conduit for life's abundance rather than a container of its trinkets. Hafid became the wealthiest man alive because he gave the most. He gave the most love. He gave the most value. He gave the most effort. He gave the most of his unique self. And because he did all of this, the universe trusted him to be the conduit for the most material wealth, for it knew that in his hands it would not stagnate and die. It would be used to create, to uplift, and to enrich the world. Do you wish to walk this path? Do you desire not just the shadow of wealth, but the substance? Then do not begin by asking what you can get. Begin today, this very hour, by asking what you can give. Look at your life. Your hand is full, even if you believe yourself to be poor. You have time. You have a unique smile. You have a word of encouragement. You have a skill, however small it may seem. You have the ability to listen. You have the capacity to love. These are your true treasures. Begin circulating them. Give your full attention to the next person you speak with. Give your best effort to the next task you undertake, no matter how menial. Give a word of genuine praise to a colleague or a loved one. Give your patience when you feel like giving anger. Start the flow. Do not do this with the expectation of an immediate return. Do it as an act of faith. Do it because you now understand the law. Sow your seeds with a generous hand and a joyful heart, and then turn your attention to sowing more. The harvest is not your concern. It is the inevitable consequence of your giving. This was Hafid's secret. It was not a secret he kept locked away. It was a secret he lived out in the open every single day, in every single transaction, in every single relationship. It was a secret written not on a scroll of parchment, but on the canvas of his life. He was the wealthiest man alive because he had mastered the divine art of giving. He knew that the measure of a man's life is not what he accumulates for himself, but what he circulates for others. Now you know, the secret is yours. The path is before you. Open your hand. Begin to give, and prepare to receive a harvest that will astonish you. Go, my friend, and do likewise.